Hi guys, welcome to our daily encounter. In Matthew chapter 8, we find a great follow-up to Matthew chapter 5 through 7. In Matthew chapter 5 through 7, we found the Sermon on the Mount, in which Jesus spoke with great authority, so much so that the crowds were amazed. But in chapter 8, we find him exercising authority through miraculous powers. We see him healing a leper, we see him healing the centurion's servant, we see him healing Peter's mother-in-law, and then just people who were coming to him in groves and multitudes of people coming to him. We see him calming the storm. We see him casting out the demons, the two men that came to him with demons. And Jesus is just showing immense power. Power over nature, power over sickness, power over the spiritual forces. Just a very powerful and authoritative individual. But mixed in with, and right in the heart of these stories of these great demonstrations of Jesus' power, is these two men who come to Jesus with a desire to follow him. One of them says this, "Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go." And then Jesus said to him, "The foxes have holes and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head." And then a second one came up to him and said, "Lord, permit me first to go and bury my father." In other words, I'll follow you, but let me bury my father and then I'll go after him and follow you. Whether his father was dead already or he wanted to just wait for his father because he knew that that was going to happen soon and he wanted to bury him. Nonetheless, he wanted to wait. And he delayed his following the Lord for the sake of his father. But in verse 22 it says, "But Jesus said to him, 'Follow me and allow the dead to bury their own dead.'" So these two men perhaps have good intentions. They want to follow the Lord. But it might just be that they had the wrong idea of what Jesus was all about. And perhaps we would too, based upon the context of what was going on. Here, perhaps they've heard about the great miracles that Jesus had been doing. How Jesus had demonstrated power over leprosy, power over sickness and disease and demonic powers. And they're thinking, hey, if we can get plugged in with this movement, if we can follow this guy, then all of our problems will be solved. We will never have any trouble because we have this man who has great, immense power. And he can whisk away our problems. We'll follow him. He apparently has authority, and maybe we'll get connected in to his authority. And we too might be exalted to places of authority. Who knows what these guys were thinking? But they seem to misunderstand because Jesus corrects them. The one who says, "Lord, I'll follow you wherever you go," Jesus corrects him and says, "You know what? The foxes have holes, the birds have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head." In other words, you don't know what it means to follow me. The one who said, "Lord, I'll follow you," basically, but let me bury my father. Jesus says, you know what? To follow me means total commitment and not delay. This was a great opportunity. Thousands of years had been prophesied that this Messiah was going to come, that Emmanuel was coming, God with us, and this was an opportunity not only of a lifetime, but of all of human history to walk with and talk with Jesus in his physical manifestation. Now was not the time to be concerned about family issues. Now was the time to give your wholehearted commitment to the Lord. So both of these guys, again, perhaps having good intentions, recognizing something special about Jesus, but not really fully understanding the full implications of what it meant to follow the Lord. And we don't know whether these guys, after Jesus told them, or corrected them and what it would really mean to follow him, if they listened to Jesus and heeded his words and said, okay, it's worth it. We just want to be with you. We just want to walk with you, talk with you, be there with you. We are willing to sleep with dew on our garments. We're willing to sleep on the ground. We're willing to forsake even the most pressing family needs just so that we can be near you. I have to say, I don't think that most likely they didn't. Given that we don't have their names and things like that, it's possible that they just walked away at this point. And that's what it seems to be that happened. But I like to think that perhaps they really did take to heart what Jesus was saying, saw the challenge and met the challenge, and actually followed after Jesus. But whether they did or not, what mainly concerns us is, are we willing to do that? I think oftentimes maybe we have the wrong idea of what it means to follow Jesus. Or at least a lot of people do. They think that following Jesus means him coming in and rescuing us and saving us from all of our problems. Life becomes rose petals and butterflies, and everything becomes just life on a bed of roses, and just life becomes good because we have Jesus in our lives. But the same message must be given today as was given back then. Following Jesus oftentimes is very difficult and very hard. And oftentimes Jesus calls us to do things that are difficult and hard. Maybe in some cases where we're called to missionary work, where maybe we don't have a place to lay our head, or maybe there's times when we have to break away from our family because of some type of things that go on that cause a division there. Whatever the case may be, it might be even the loss of life that we're called to give for the sake of Christ. But the same thing that would be true of them back then is true of us as well. And that is, just being in the presence of the Lord would make it all worthwhile. To be able to live with the Lord, to walk with the Lord, to be in communion with the Lord, to have that special relationship with the Lord, that far outweighs any sacrifices that we might have to make to walk with the Lord and to follow the Lord. And oftentimes we get our priorities shifted. We think that the most important thing is to live comfortably, to have a lot of wealth, a lot of possessions, to be able to just live our lives the way that we want to have them lived. And we want to add Jesus to that. But what we're told in scriptures, and what's implied in this story, is being with the Lord is better than all those other things. If we had no possessions, if we were stripped bare of everything that we owned, if even we lost the pillow under our heads, if we had to be like Jacob, who slept with nothing but a stone under his head and slept on the ground, if we had to go through the most difficult trials and difficulties, to have Jesus makes it worth all the while. Because Jesus is the best. Jesus is the one that it's all about. He's the one who we can draw close to. He's the one who can give us eternal life. He's the one who can come and work in a powerful way in our lives to bring transformation and to draw us closer to the Father. He is our access to all spiritual blessings. He is the one who, when we are drawn close to him, we become like sons of God. We become co-heirs with Christ, as Romans chapter 8 teaches us. There is an immense amount of blessings connected to Christ. But sometimes, in order to enjoy those blessings, we have to turn our face away from the world, and even turn our face away from comfort and self-satisfaction a lot of times. But it's worth it. And we just have to ask ourselves the question and be real with ourselves. Are we willing to forsake all for Christ? Are we willing to give him our all? That's what he's asking of us. If anyone would come after me, let him take up his cross. Deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me, he would tell his disciples. And the same words ring true even to this day. Are we willing to forsake all for Christ? In return, he gives us himself. And to me, that's a great trade. To forsake everything that we have, these temporary things that we have, these temporary possessions, temporary comfort, for Christ, who is eternal, whom we can have a relationship with forever and ever, ages on end. That's a good trade. And that's what he calls us to do. Sometimes maybe he does allow us to go into seasons where we are comfortable, where we have what we need and more. But that's not really what it's all about. It's really just about being with him, walking with him, talking with him, communion with him, being drawn to the Father through him. That's what life is all about, and that's the life that he calls us to have. So let's seek after that today. Let's be willing to forsake all for Christ, to give up everything for him, for his cause, for the kingdom, so that we can just enjoy him, not only today, not only tomorrow, but for eternity. So with that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.